Hi guys, so today the inspiration for my layout came from a Pinterest board that I created. Today is the men's hockey finals for the Olympics, and so I'm obviously cheering for Canada, and so I was feeling very kind of red and whitish as a result, and there is a lot of red and white in the Scraptastic Feel Again kit, and so what I decided to do was create a little Pinterest board with just some inspiration of some colors and patterns that I might want to not necessarily include in the layout, because I've got like the pattern papers that are in the kit are what I'm going to be using, but I just kind of wanted to get an idea of some different kind of looks, and so I just pinned a whole bunch of things, and I wanted to draw some inspiration from kind of home decor and fashion and that sort of thing. So I'm just gonna slowly scroll through these kind of really cool nails, and then this really cool pillow with hearts on it. And so I was really feeling inspired by heart motifs and just the color scheme of red and white and gray. And so I did some searches and just pinned anything that appealed to me. So there's this really cool quilt and a pair of fun socks, and again lots of hearts in these pins, and then even just that room was sort of, I don't know, I really liked the look of that. And so this layout isn't going to look like all of these things, but I'm just kind of, these are the kind of lots of red and white stripes. I love the red and white stripes, and there are some stripes in the kit, and then there's some more gray and red and white, and then just gray and white hearts, another red heart. That's a really cool like gray pin with a red heart again. Lots of kind of textures with quilts and stuff like that. And then this one has like the red and white with the blue, and there's some of that blue in the kit too. So I thought something like with that kind of Baroque or kind of like a floral blue pattern, it looks really nice with the red, so I thought I might go in that direction as well. But I'm leaning more towards the red, white, and gray type of color scheme, and this is really the jumping off point. This was the first picture that I came across that I was like, that's what I want my layout to look like. But it's a little bit too crisp, like it's too wintry, and my picture is not a winter picture, so I kind of used this as the jumping off point, and then I added some grays and some more kind of textures and that sort of thing. So that's what this is just my inspiration. So I'm going to turn this off now, and I'm going to link this board in the information section for this video, as well as in the blog post for today. So you can find these links if you want to have a closer look. So this is the photo I'm using. It's actually a photo from last summer of Scott and I in New York City. We're up at the top of the rock with the city behind us. And I decided early on to use that You and Me sticker as kind of one of the main elements of this layout, and it's kind of brings in the gray, and then that XOXO paper has the gray. And so I'm looking for some kind of red and whites and things that kind of remind me of that Pinterest board, and this red and white diagonal stripe one really reminded me of that first pin on the board, and so I wanted to use that. And then I was thinking I'd use a red background, and I thought about matting it in the black, and then I decided to just go with a plain, simple red background. This is going to be a really simple layout today. It doesn't have a whole lot of clutter or kind of decorative elements on it. It's just mostly paper, a couple of paper, a couple of embellishments, and that's about it. So I'm going to use my ruler to tear the paper, and this allows me to tear in a straight line and get that nice white kind of torn edge on it. So I started by tearing off the piece of the striped, and that red and white stripe diagonal is by Crepe Paper. It's from the Love Notes collection. And then this blue paper here is from the Echo Park Head Over Heels collection, and it has the red hearts on the back of it, and I'm going to use those red hearts as well. I'm going to cut a little strip of those. I kind of wasn't sure how I was going to use it. I knew I wanted to use it, so I'm going to think about that while I tear myself. Oh, maybe I'm not. Um, so yes, I guess I decided right away that I was going to use a strip of these hearts, and I really love them. They're kind of like half the heart is one color and half is the other color. And so I just cut that with my trimmer because I wanted it to be a certain size. And now I'm just going to tear this XOXO paper, which brings the gray into it. And I did pull some of the blue. I know one of my pins had the combination of red and white and blue, and so I did use, I went upstairs and everybody was wearing hockey jerseys, so I came back down with a hockey jersey because I didn't want to be the only one in my family not with a jersey on. So I thought about that, but no, that's not gonna, that would have been going away from my Pinterest inspiration. So I decided not to go with that mask instead. And the reason I'm using a mask here is just that that red background is very plain, and I just want something that's gonna make it look a little bit more interesting. It's kind of a whole lot of red. So what I've done is I pulled out a Crafter's Workshop mask from my stash, and I'm going to mist over top of it. And if you don't have any masks, you can make them by kind of using the background of a Cameo or a Cricut cut if you have any that kind of have like patterns on them, or you can even just do some misting on your background. You don't have to have a template. I just like I'm in love with that little punchinella look, so so I use this mask a lot. Now, I did use some Mr. Huey's in opaque white, and it takes a little bit to dry, and it can be messy if you use it when it's not dry, so I just blotted it with a paper towel just to make sure I didn't get any messy white stuff all over everything. So you'll notice that even though there's quite a lot of mist in the middle, I end up covering up most of it so that all that you see is kind of the subtle mist on the edges of that pattern. Now I have all my paper layered together the way I want it to be, and I'm going to go ahead and start gluing it down onto the layout. And I don't always do it in this order. Sometimes I'll put all the layers together and then put them on the background last, but in this case I'm just wanting to go ahead and jump in, so that's what I'm doing. Just making sure it was straight there. It looked really off to me, but I guess my eye was just off. Now I'm sewing with silver thread, and that kind of ties into the Pinterest board as well. There's the fingernails had silver, and there were a couple of other things that had silver. So I wanted to use my silver thread in this one just to kind of tie in with some of that inspiration that I saw on the Pinterest board. I'm kind of using it as like a challenge to see how many elements I can draw from some of those pins. And my thread broke. I don't know. It was doing something weird. It was like skipping stitches for a while and then it just broke. I don't know. Metallic thread is quite finicky. I do use a metallic thread needle, which apparently keeps it from breaking more often than not, but it does still break sometimes. So I'm just using a zigzag stitch, and I'm really just using it for decorations. It's almost like instead of doodling. I'm not going to do any doodling or outlining at all on this layout, so and a lot of people ask me why I outline or don't outline, and usually my default is to outline, and so if I'm not outlining, it's usually because I want it to look kind of, I don't know, more organic or less finished, I'm not sure. But here there's so much contrast between the pieces of paper, like between that XOXO paper and the diagonal stripe. I don't really need to outline to say this is where these papers end because it's really clear where they end. So I don't really need to do it for definition. And so I just decided not to because a lot of my layouts do have the outlining, so I just decided to not do it here. More as for a change than for any specific reason. So I am zigzag stitching along this strip that I just put on. Again, that is the Echo Park Head Over Heels paper. And the XOXO paper is the Echo Park Head Over Heels as well. I don't think I said that. I'm going to go ahead and add another line of stitching, and this one will be just a plain straight stitch. I think I'm going to need to fix my thread or something. So there we go with that. And the thread broke. So what I did was I just rethread it I left the bobbin attached. I rethreaded it, brought it back to where it had broken, and just stitched right over. And some of the stitches popped out and didn't quite work. I don't know what's wrong. There's something wrong with my sewing machine again. So anyways, I kind of like the way that it looks actually. I'm going to show it to you, I think, pretty soon. Oh, anyways, you'll see it at the end if I don't show it now. I've thought about putting that Ormolu flare badge there, but it's not going to make it there because I'm going to do some other stuff instead. And here I'm just kind of starting to get a sense of what embellishments I might want to pull out. And there's a, oh darn, you're not going to see it because of the reflection. That is a frame that actually looks really great. It's an overlay from crepe paper. There was a whole package of them that came in the kit. There, you see it. It puts those hearts over top. I really like it. It's so pretty. It makes it look like the city and hearts are in the background of the picture. It's really, really nice. So then I'm going to stick this Two of Us die cut in behind the blue paper. I had to kind of size it and trim off a little bit to get it to fit properly. And I did leave a tiny bit of the edge of the white showing just for, again, just a little bit more interest. And now I'm just looking through all of these die cuts that came in the kit. Some of them were part of the crepe paper transparencies, and some of them were from a fancy pants set of die cuts. And I thought about using that X&O, but it's not going to make it to the final cut. So there's where I ended up putting that large heart. It's almost completely see-through. It has a tiny bit of shading to it. And I think that just adds a nice little bit of texture and detail to the layout. Again, those fancy pants die cuts are really speaking to me here, but they're just not fitting with the overall look that I want, so I'm not going to end up using many of them. I am going to use these watercolored hearts. I'm going to layer a bunch of them together. And I was going to put some transparent hearts kind of almost like splatter around the edges of the layout, but I decided not to. I'll take those off shortly. So now those were just looking a little bit too plain for me, so here's where I am going to do some outlining just to make them stick out a little bit, especially where I'm layering them along with a very dark heavy element, that You and Me sticker. I want these to stand out and you know, hold their weight against that other sticker. And then that True Love wood veneer from the kit. Everything in this layout I think is from the kit. Really kind of looked great in the middle of that die cut. And a couple of enamel pieces there from my mind's eye that came in the kit. And they just add a bit more dimension. And then I stuck another little not vellum, but a little transparent heart layered with the yellow heart. And now I'm just kind of thinking about what else I can add here. I'm not entirely sure if it's done or if I need more. At this point I'm still thinking, and I really want to use this geotag because I love it. As soon as I saw it I was like, oh, I need to have it. It has red, white, and gray on it. So I'm going to put it over there, and then I'm going to find something else to put. See how there's that little blank space there with the blue background paper? I just want to fill that with something. So I took another sticker. It's just one of those hearts that's half pink and half red, and so I just put that there to fill that space. And I put both of those on with pop dots so they have a bit more dimension. And at this point I'm thinking I'm going to write a title in yellow in the red space underneath my layout, but then I decided to put this Forever sticker here just because I really liked it and I thought it would look good in that space. And then once that sticker is down, it's kind of like I change my mind about the title and decide the title's going to be You and Me Forever. And that way I don't have to use any letter stickers. It's already done for me. Laziness at its best. So now I'm going to do my journaling, and my journaling just talks about our experience. Ah, my layout's gone. Oh, I was going to read it for you, but I don't know where I put my layout, so I think I hold it up at the end and you'll get to see it. But it's basically about how awesome it was to be at the top of the rock and kind of being able to look out over the whole city, and how the city feels really big when you're in it, like when you're down on the ground, but then once you see it from way up high, you really get a sense of just how big it is. And that's basically what the journaling says. And this background paper is a lot easier to write on than some because it is not well, it's textured, but it's just it only has a small amount of texture on it. It's like an orange peel texture instead of that kind of canvasy texture that most pattern paper has. So, oh, I was going to do that, and then nope, that throws it off. I'm not doing that anymore. And at this point, I think I'm done. I can't remember if I'm done. There's more video, so I guess I must not be done. What else do I add? Oh yes, a roller date stamp with the date, which coincidentally was already on this roller date stamp. All I had to do was change the sentiment. So I suspect I might have scrapbooked this picture before. I very well might have. And I use the Amy Tangerine roller date stamp whenever I can because it has a lot of travel stuff on it, and I don't travel very much. So whenever I have a travel layout, that's the roller date stamp I use. So now I'm just going to add some splatter. I have my Mr. Huey's silver, which was for some reason just not splattering at all. It's like, get out. I just wanted to stay in the jar. So I don't have many splatters, but then the white really made up for it because it was like blah all over the place. But that's fine. It's okay. It's a little bit more white than I expected, but that's all right. So here it is. I think I'm going to show you the layout now. Yep. So there you get to see I did dry this off camera, so I just used my heat gun. And you need to be careful using your heat gun around transparent items because they will curl up and shrink a little bit if you direct your heat gun right on it. So as I was drying it, I was careful to stay away from those. And yeah, so there you get to see some of the layered little stickers and die cut pieces and stuff all layered together. I love that forever sticker. I love, love, love it. And again, those stickers are from the Head Over Heels from Echo Park collection. And yeah, I just put that overlay on with one single staple and it seemed to be holding it in place, so I just left it at that. There's the journaling. If you want to read it, you could pause it and have a look. It's just what I said it was, though. It's nothing like earth-shattering or anything. Yeah, so this was my kind of Valentine / hockey inspired layout that has nothing to do with hockey. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. Take care and have a great scrappy week.